As attention is drawn to the need to forge a positive relationship amidst the growing trend of violence, adversity and uncertainty in the country, the International Day of Conscience serves as a reminder of the collective responsibility of all to foster understanding, peace and empathy amongst the people across the globe and Nigeria in particular. Now, Nigeria today joined the rest of the world to mark the International Day of Conscience. It's imperative for everyone to come together to support one another and build bridges of love. The importance of self-examination and acting morally is also very critical, even as the day offers an opportunity to reflect on the progress made in promoting peace and social justice. We now ask a pertinent question: how alive is our conscience as individuals and citizens of this great country? These and more will be our focus on tonight's program. Thanks for joining us. I am Eucharia Clinton. Welcome to Nigeria Today. Joining us in the studio tonight is Director, Public Enlightenment and Mass Mobilization, National Orientation Agency, Theresa Maduekwe. You're welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you again. Now, today it's the International Day of Conscience.
Yeah.
First, one will know how valuable, or what is the value of the human conscience.
Thank you so much. The value of the human conscience is being empathetic rather than being sympathetic. I think that is the major thing about conscience, and also you being conscious of yourself. What value do you have or do you hold as a person that that you cherish? Something that you are conscious about. A little child is conscious of his biscuit that he should not be given or taken by anyone without his approval. Just as we say human rights, you are conscious of your human rights. You are conscious of your privacy. You are conscious of all the rights to life, good livelihood, and other good things. So once that is good for you, you should be able to say, oh, it will be good for my neighbor. It's good for my friend. It's just good for my colleague. That we all savor good things. So that should be the nurture or the consciousness of every individual or person. Because when we talk about conscience, you see some persons not thinking, oh, this Mr. B or A should also have it. Do it right, then the conscience is right. You educate your consciousness. Sometimes you may not really understand that, oh, this thing you are doing is wrong. That is not that you are, that is not to say you don't value good things. But by the time you realize it, you should be able to change and say, okay, oh, this thing is not good, then I refrain from doing it, or that person stops practicing whatever that is wrong that he's doing. That is what we say consciousness.
Now, I haven't heard what you said. Back in the days, we didn't have this trend, this present trend of, this level of insecurity, criminality, and the rest of them. I don't want to keep mentioning them, but presently we have quite a lot of it across the country, across the globe. What, in your opinion, can you see is a contributory factor to these?
You find out that now morals have dropped. People go to the internet, just, the internet is an open space. Put it out there. Nobody will say, don't put it. So nobody is on the internet saying, do not put this. It's not good for us. It's not good for humanity. Because this conscience we're talking about is humanity. So you find out that on that space, everything goes. So people emulate the good, the bad, and the ugly. They emulate sale of arms. They say, money is business. I do it, I get the money. They are not cared, or they are not concerned, that you are damaging someone's lives, or some people's lives, rather. So those are the things. What kind of livelihood am I putting out there, or I'm having to get money, that I just need money for all I care? Even if some people will say, it's only 60 people that died. There's something wrong. So that is the problem. The value system is just dropping. People don't even regard life as sacred anymore. They just say, only 30. Here was, when they are talking here, children dying, kidnapping, they pick children, soft targets, harmless people who are so vulnerable. You go pick them for what? All for money. They'll say, oh, we want to negotiate. It's negotiable. We are negotiating another person's life. Who gave you that? So these are the things we're talking about, that the technology is really doing well, but it's also not doing so well. Because ordinarily, back in the days, as we call it, the value for life is sacred. You cannot enter any community and you say somebody killed somebody. First and foremost, the first thing they'll say, abomination. Everybody goes into their house. Even animals know that something wrong has happened. But it's not so these days. In fact, sometimes you see people, they pass in between
the body.
Yes. It wasn't so before. So all these things is, I still say, is a thing of moral. Our value system is dropping, is watering down. We hang some on the name of freedom of this, freedom of that, freedom of that and that, and there are so many, from A to Z, all the freedoms. Not minding that somebody's life or this thing is wrong, you must stop. They would not. So I believe it's seriously bordering on our morality and our values that is being watered down. And the people or the government or systems ought to speak, because they said ills thrive when there is silence. That is what I think is.
So, in your opinion, you've talked so much about how the value system is, kind of being watered down, in your own words. Now, what can be done to revive it? Because it seems to be, people are almost losing it,
Yeah. I keep saying it again. We have to go back to the roots. We have to speak up for positivity, encourage it, sensitize, enlighten. In the open place, even in the marketplace, in our worship places, in our places of our traditional courts, because our traditional heads or leaders are part of it. They are the custodians of our cultural practices and values. Then the government should also speak. Look at this government. They will say, you and I. Yes, let's put our voices to it in our own space. I speak, you speak, he speaks, and so on. It goes around like that. By the time you know it, there will be vibration on this topic. And then you begin to, and honestly speaking, we must condemn what is right. What is wrong. We must. In schools, it's another area, so let's just go. We must just condemn wrong values and encourage positive things, positive values, positive acts, and positive ideologies, and practice them. Then we may start recovering from conscience that has died. They say some people's conscience are dead. So.
Well, earlier when you were talking about it, you seem to, from what I get from what you said earlier, the money is gradually becoming a priority for a lot of persons. No more the value for life, value for relationships. How can we discourage this in our society? Because it seems to be that quite a lot of people tend to, worship money, more than they even value lives.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate, and I keep saying it again. We have to, like I said, we'll start by speaking. Speak in our homes, speak in every space that we occupy or we may be found, in our worship places, within the traditional courts, because these people are regarded so highly. In our educational institutions, let's have it right, because all this yahoo issue is all for money too. You hear ritual acts being done by even young children of 15 years, 13 years, and you see children of less than 10 years doing mockery of it, and nobody discourages it. I've seen some on TikTok where little children went and took another child, tied the child and said, you must do something before you can let you go. The child was crying profusely until somebody heard and was like, what's going on there, and got there and found out. They said that it's because they used to see it. They said so. So we have to speak against it. We must raise voices against ills, negativity. Not that you shouldn't have money, but let it be legitimate. Have a legitimate source of income. Of what it looks like. those who are keen will start asking, and they will start corresponding with you. Oh, really? What happens that day? I will line up the activities for that day, tell you the good hotels, and probably give you the cost of those places, and tell you, look, it's nice, come over. And
I saw something that, and I think is worthy of note. You know, an Islamic group organized the iftar, and they invited some Christian, faithfuls to come and join them and break the fast. That was yes, I saw it too. That's also very nice. Now, at least locally in our own environment, you've just had Easter, and then it happened that the Lenten season and their own fasting came the same season. So when the fasting of this person, the other side is getting over, you can invite your neighbor who is of the other faith that come. Let's do it together. And now that the Christians have had their Easter, this Ramadan fast is ending, you are getting invited by one or two. You can also come and join their families and have it. That's also good for us. Thank you very much. We'll have to take a short break now. And this is Cyril Nigeria Today. We're talking about International Day of Conscience. We'll listen to some Nigerians speak on the issue of discuss. Don't go away.
Thank you.
What I see about conscience is not something far from the hunger in town. People are hungry. That's the issue. That's just the fact. So when you're hungry, you'll be angry. Hungry man is an angry man. So that's just the fact. That's what I see.
Everything now turns to having money, having what you can eat with your family. So our conscience is no more being portrayed again. So I pray that Nigeria, we should leadership should turn to look at the society and try to do things that will favor the society.
Actually, it's quite unfortunate, despite the fact today is World Conscience Day, and you can see the violence is all over the country. It's just really quite unfortunate. Our leaders need to rise up to the task to see that there is peace in this nation.
Welcome back. This is still Nigeria Today, and we are of course talking about International Day of Conscience, and I have with me here a lady in the studio. You heard what one of the respondents there said. He said there's hunger in the land, but can hunger affect somebody so much that you don't really appreciate the life of your fellow human being to the extent that, so
that's actually like give me some kind of jolt in that. Conscience, taking life, hunger. What happened to your hands? What happened to your legs? They can't do anything. Is to go and take lives. Then that person never really had conscience. Because the way you are alive, you should wish your neighbor to be alive. That is the balanced conscience. That's why they keep saying that some conscience are not developed. Like we said earlier that some persons will be doing something because nobody ever spoke against it. They just felt it was okay because that's what they were seeing. But as time went on, as time goes on, he discovered that, it's not really the best. I could do something differently. The person that is telling us about hunger in the land, I'm not sure he understands what they're talking about here. Because what has hunger got to do with your conscience? Your conscience and hunger? What is right in your own mind? What is your own moral about life? Those are the conscience questions that touch your conscience. When you answer it, it has nothing to do with here. Here, it has something to do with your hand, using here and getting things done, and then money comes to you. Some persons take your services and pay for it. Some persons take your goods and pay for them. So, that is how to satisfy the hunger. But this conscience thing is about your relationship with your neighbor. Is it that you want to now aim at your neighbor and take away his life so that you satisfy hunger?
Or even kidnap.
You aim at the children when they're going to school, or the man himself or the woman that, okay, they are traveling today, I'm going to arrange for kidnapping them so that they could get money out of them. Is that how to make the money? And you now satisfy the hunger. That hunger can never be satisfied, I can assure you, because that money will exhaust. So when it's exhausted,
will you have, at the end of the day, even if you satisfy your hunger, will you have a peaceful sleep?
When you know what you did to get that money, that means the conscience is not there. You know, there used to be an advert you used to have then, the people who did some contract and the potholes and stuff and accidents. So he didn't go out to kill, but it was as a result of his bad job. People died. That took away his peace. He could not sleep. So by the time you go after your neighbor, taking lives, killing, kidnapping, doing all sorts of things, then you have peace.
And also corruption in the system is also part of it.
It's part of it. So at the time you are practicing that corruption, is it right? Your conscience, is it telling you this is just perfect? Go ahead and continue to do it. So conscience is not about hunger. Conscience is about relationship, valuing your neighbor, valuing the other person, valuing what is right, seeking to do what is right. That is what your conscience should be talking about. And you remember, like you said about relationships, I remember that schools, when they used to have some activities, they invite other schools. That's relationship. Trying to build the right value that will develop right conscience, so that they will have the right attitude towards life. Eventually, when they leave that school, they know that they can still relate. That's why your alumni will have activity. They would look for you because you are tied together by something. The fact that you are alive and you went through that side, you are all bound together, and you have activities together.
How can we encourage such? You talked about inviting other schools to participate in what other schools are doing. How can we encourage such amongst us in our communities, in our even in our churches and the rest of them? How can we encourage such?
Yes, you have mentioned about this when it is time to do iftar. You invite your neighbor. That is one for the religious. And then in the communities I know, they have festivities that are peculiar to each community. So when my community, as me community A, we may have maybe women festival. There might be something that touches on women alone, or the one that touches on men and young adults. Maybe there's something that is specific for them. They are the only one that are being celebrated at a particular time. Community A that is doing it, we now extend invitation to community B, C, D and others, and say we're having so date. Please save it. They will do that through their traditional heads. They will be invited with his own council and other people. And they will now send to various groups. Send us so number of people. We are going for this activity. They have invited us where they are celebrating the men, so they will all go. By so doing, they are bonding. They will not have consciousness that will harm that neighbor. They are now neighbors, and eventually they are bonding and becoming family. Yes, they are not from the same mother and father, but there is a way. Their consciousness, they are conscious of their neighbor, and they wish right, good to happen to him or her. That is what should be in place. Okay,
and one last thing, just in 30 seconds. What is the role of the civil society group, we as individuals, and of course leaders, religious leaders, traditional leaders, in trying to foster peace or to build peace in our country? Yeah, thank you so much. One thing for us, we first of all try to show care towards one another. But by the time I show care, respect towards you, you'll be comfortable. There's this confidence that you have towards me. And of course, you return respect and eventually care too. As well, our traditional rulers and leaders, they're supposed to keep telling the community members, heads of homes, that's what we call household heads, the men, because most times when there is crisis, it's the men that go.
the men become widows, the children become orphans, so that they will have peace in our community. We don't want trouble. Please, men, be in peace. Our church leaders should, continually talk about peace. That your neighbor is your brother. It doesn't have to be from my church. He's my brother. He has blood in him. His blood doesn't show he's Christian. He's the other. So his blood that comes out of you, that also comes out of you.
Thank you very much, Teresa.
Thank you so much.
At this point, I wrap it up on today's episode of Nigeria Today. I've been speaking with the Director, Public Enlightenment and Mass Mobilization, National Orientation Agency, Teresa Maduekwe. Thank you for your time and your contribution.
Thank you.
And thank you for being part of the program. I am Eucharia Clinton. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.